I remember liking it as a kid, even though I have some painful memories of it.
Just like from it scaring you, or
yeah, as a kid, my parents didn't care if I watched scary movies, so I would watch these, and then my siblings would be mean and take me into the bathroom, and I was too short to reach the doorknob, and so they would just start yelling "Candyman" with the lights off, and I would be screaming. Hi there. Welcome to the Some Damn Movies podcast. Just a heads up, we don't shy away from spoilers. Here's your warning for the following movies: A Ghost Story, Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Clerks, and some other Kevin Smith stuff, Transformers 1, Red Dragon, Candyman, The Virgin Suicides, Boyhood. Enjoy!
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Ian, and this is Some Damn Movies. It's where two friends get together on a fairly weekly basis and we talk about movies. Why, you might ask? Because we like movies. We really, really enjoy them, and we just like talking about them. So joining me, per usual, is the one and only Jared.
Hi.
And I'll start this off with something as simple as this. Hey, Jared, what you watching?
Well. I finally made it. My 300th movie. So
what a moment. What a time to be alive.
300th movie of the year. Of course, if you've listened to our previous podcast, my challenge this year was to, just a simple little challenge of watching 300 movies during the year. I gave myself a little bit of grace. Give myself 65 days of freedom. That has not worked because I can get through 2 or 3 in a day. And here we are. I have plenty of days left. But my 300th movie, I had to spend on one of my favorites. I finally got to watch it this year. I have a tattoo, A Ghost Story.
What a classic.
It is.
Right there.
It's
if you
so
haven't
good.
watched A Ghost Story, people, I don't even know if I can recommend it. Like, you have to. So one, I guess also in the spirit of, just the season. Actually, I think it might be a good Thanksgiving kind of, because it's going around Thanksgiving time. But like, I'll tell you this, it's not a scary movie. I mean, maybe there is a level of fear to it, but like not the fear you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, it's very existential.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie is like very existential and just like, what am I doing here? Grieving loss as time passes. I would say that A Ghost Story being so good, if my recommendation would be, if you want to watch a 90-minute movie that feels like a 360-minute movie, you should watch A Ghost Story.
100%.
And it's like a slow burn. We love it low and slow on this channel.
Sometimes when it's done well, and it's done
well, yeah, let's say that. Like if you feel like, yeah, when it's done well.
It's haunting, it's crushing, it's thought provoking. This time I'm gonna be honest, I was just enamored by just watching this movie again because I love it so much that I don't even care about like sort of the deep thoughts of this movie. I was just like 300 finally got there, and like I got to watch the pie scene again. I love that scene, and I was just smiling the entire time. And so I really don't have anything thought-provoking to say about this movie other than it hits me every single time in some way. Even the scene with the one guy that talks about all the other bullshit at the party, I actually liked it a lot more this time. Because normally when I watch it, I was like, that scene kind of pisses me off.
It is, right, but like it also serves as the exposition in case you don't get it. Like in case you're missing, which I will actually say I used to get kind of annoyed by it, and I used to take it as a moment of like, oh, the writer doesn't think that we know. But one, they do it in a funny way. I think the little hipster at the party is doing it in a funny way.
Yeah.
I also just love that scene because the freaking wait, who is it was who is Casey Affleck,
Yeah.
Casey Affleck in a freaking ghost, like a simple ghost like costume, just standing at this party. Like, what a vibe that would have been. Like, I mean, they wouldn't have seen him, right? But I'm just saying, like, that the way the scene is portrayed, I think is hilarious because it's like all these, like, I don't know, maybe like late 20s, early 30s kind of like millennials that are just like drinking and having a party, and then he's just standing there in this like with a simple sheet ghost kind of costume. No, I actually think that is one part where I actually am kind of grateful for like the explanation. Or I think it's at least done tastefully, even though it is kind of annoying. But I think that's like the point. Like they wanted to kind of make fun of the fact that they're even doing it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we always call it like a slow burn and stuff. And obviously there's certain people that just, they can't really dig slow burns, whatever, to each their own. But this one, I just feel like it hits a little bit different. I think it actually adds to the story and the sort of the themes of the movie. Like life can be a slow burn, and some of the moments that you means the most to you are the ones that sort of fly by the fastest. And some of those small moments that maybe you didn't appreciate in the moment, and it comes back to you, are the moments that you probably honestly love the most. Some of the moments that he's like sort of reliving are just kind of like whatever moments, but those are the cute little moments that you don't think about in the moment and really appreciate it until later, which is a lot
for
of
sure.
the movie is. It's
like making the most
great,
out of like those little, like the more granular and simpler moments. Like actually, bro, fuck, I think being a girl dad might make me fucking cry on this podcast. Shit,
that's okay.
But it is kind of like those little, it is like those little moments. Like I have like moments where like, I don't know, Dakota's so young, right? Like she's like only a couple months old, but it is trying to like your best to savor like the fact that like, like when she wakes up in the morning, she has this really cute thing of like she'll like be waking up like she did today, right? Like, and when she sees me, and she does it to Jess too, but when she sees us for the first time, she just like puts the biggest grin on her face because she just like knows who we are. She's starting to realize who we are. And it is like, fuck, it is taking those moments, right? Like that's my takeaway of a ghost story is just like, don't take the simple moments for granted. Like it is about like the fact that they live in this quaint house, this very simple house. Him and Rooney Mara, like they were about to start a life. Like it was about like him playing the piano while she's reading or something. It's like these little, just again, like a lot of moments that a lot of people just take for granted. And like it, I think like you start to, it makes you really think about that and how he kind of goes on through time. He's like, once he, spoilers, anyone, maybe we'll put a time code up for you to like skip it. I don't know about that, but he, like when he passes and then he just watches like, he just kind of like watches like time pass, right? And it's now he's kind of outside of those little moments. I don't know. I took it as like, oh, like what you would do to have those little moments again. So yeah, great fucking movie.
Plus, there also can be something said. Obviously, the MacGuffin or whatever you want to call it is the note that's stuck in the crack, which at the end of the day truly doesn't really mean anything because I mean,
I don't even think you hear you don't even read what it says. It's the things you leave behind.
No one knows what it says.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing is like it's the things you leave behind and that you like get attached to. I don't even think he knew about it, did he? Or did he put it in there?
No, she put it in there.
No, she put it in there, and
that's the entire basis
you watch her
of
put
him
it.
staying.
It's because he can't grab it or do anything. Yeah, so yeah,
and he's like kind of holding on, I guess, in that sense. Is like this is what the movie is about. Also, can be about like sort of holding on to stuff that doesn't really matter. And the only thing that really matters is, I guess, your memories or your time with that person, and being stuck in one place, which was kind of the basis of their some of their arguments and stuff in that side the house. Is it seemed like she wanted to move past that house and he wanted to like sort of stick his roots there and stuff like that. and he stuck his roots there, and he obviously saw his life blow by.
Well, he just watched the life of, like, he did stick his roots out. Like he passed and he was stuck there. But like, I think more to the point of like, yeah, like, so like he's attached to it. This note, not unexplained, but like this unknown that he cannot experience. This is what he wants to experience. This is why he's haunting this place.
Yeah.
Right. Is because he doesn't know what's in this note. And he wants to because it's from his wife. But then like Rooney Mara eventually, because I think she stays in for a time. Like I forget how much of the movie she's in there, but like she is, again, with moving on, she ends up moving on, right? Like she gets past it. And so the movie really is like this maybe allegory for grieving, holding on to things, trying to move on from things, and how they can, like, how certain things can anchor you down, like, and also enjoying the small moments. That's what, if I were to say, like, what did I take away from that movie when I've watched it, it is that, like, I think to a T.
Yeah.
And it does it very well.
Yeah. And lastly, that the theme song, right? Or the main soundtrack of, I mean, the soundtrack is awesome. That so dark room song, it's good, but it's
a top 5 movie for me.
This was obviously a movie that we like connected with many years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a nice special 300th movie. So that's what I watched. Obviously there's some other stuff, but let's move on to what you've been watching, Ian.
Well, before we go on too far, I do want to say, if you have the ability to watch a ghost story watch it on the shittiest TV you can by yourself in like at late at night. Like if you really want to get into it, like I'm talking about, get yourself like a 4x3 CRT television and hook that shit up and just turn off all the lights. Because I didn't do it that way, but like I watched it at night, like in our apartment, like one time, like no lights, just like in the dark, and that's when it gets very introspective. I think
definitely it's one of those movies that your review on it or your love or hate for it is definitely moment based. Depends on where you are in life. Obviously, this movie now might hit you different as a father, so
yeah.
Than you were whenever you were single Pringle.
Yeah. But that's what I would say, because it also is all shot in 4x3, so it has very, very intimate like stage or not staging, but framing for a lot of these scenes, and I think it does it immaculate. So
it definitely,
that's how you should do it.
It almost plays like in a way, it's like a character of the movie, right? Like it being 4x3, it sort of traps you in this box. There's not like a ton of more information that you're getting outside of that 4x3 frame.
When I think of that movie, if I think of a scene that like will stay in my head, is like Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck like in their bed, like I think like staring, like just cuddling in a 4x3 shot.
Yeah,
like I can't think of like another like it, because it's just such an intimate shot. It's just so contained, so like it's not like it's strangling you, but it is just so tight. And I can't give that movie enough praise. I think it's underrated. I don't think enough people have watched it.
No.
And I don't care how many people have actually watched it. If it's not everybody, then I think it's been not enough.
It's beautiful.
But as far as what I have watched, I have experienced nothing nearly as tasteful or just as good as you have. Okay, so everyone who was thinking that I watched something good, I didn't, and we're buckling in for some crap. It's some of that caca. It's some of that. I watched fucking Sucker Punch.
Oh, great!
I kept going down.
Zack Snyder on the damn thumbnail again.
Well, yeah, put Zack Snyder on the thumbnail again, because I continued on with my filmography watch of his, and I watched Sucker Punch and Man of Steel, and I started Batman versus Superman, which I haven't even finished yet, and I just because they put out they don't even have the theatrical cut, and I'm swearing a lot. We're trying to get better about that, but my God, like, why do they? I hate nerds. I do. I hate. I say this because all the DC nerds out there are the ones who are like, give me like the extended cut. Like they're acting like it's the Lord of the Rings or some shit. You're not. You're nowhere near Peter Jackson's masterpiece, his magnum opus. But why do we have fucking Batman versus Justice League Ultimate Edition, which adds on, I think, like an hour to this fucking runtime? It's like now it's like a 3 hour, I think it's like a 3.5 hour movie now. Why? Why? So he could talk about Martha more? Holy shit. Like, let's start with Sucker Punch. It's intentionally dark. It's like, it's dark for the sake of being dark and edgy. Also, Zack Snyder has a shitty taste in using classic rock in a lot of his movies. There's nothing wrong with classic rock, right? But it comes off almost like the way he uses it. I hear it playing and I think to myself, wow, how corny is this? This is corny. And what I mean by that is like, we're talking about like they're going into a battle scene in this movie and like Jefferson Airplane is playing. You know what, actually, it's whatever. That's really that's one of them. But I wonder if, I don't know how I can pull this off for you, but what do you think that, Zack Snyder, I wish I had this scene to where I could like have you watch it without the audio, but I feel like they're so cliche when he uses them that you can almost guess what he's going to use for like some of his music, right? I don't have a good example for you or a good way of doing this, but like he uses, of course, like Sweet Dreams, like some cover of Sweet Dreams. It's not even like the Marilyn Manson one. It's not even like the Eurythmics. And it's just like Sweet Dreams with like this fucking like slow-mo ass montage of like, it's like setting up the entire movie, right? Like it opens up, for those who don't know, Sucker Punch is really just about a girl who loses her mother and sister. I think both of them. And the stepfather is trying to inherit the estate. So he takes our main protagonist, named Sweet Pea, played by Emily something or other
Browning, who actually was the artist of that Sweet Dreams cover.
I think she probably fucking sang it too.
She did, yeah. I'm looking at the soundtrack.
Oh my God. Get that. Oh my God. Let me bring it up on Letterboxd. Yeah, so he the whole premise of the movie is that she goes to like an insane asylum to where they're going to, it sounds like right off the rip, lobotomize her, and then everything will go to the stepfather. Now, that being said, this movie doesn't even need, like, you don't really even need to know that. I'll be straight up. I actually don't know why we waste time even talking about it, because all that happens is she goes to the mental institution and then she goes into a daydream. That's like the best way of describing it. So it's a movie inside of a movie inside of a movie. Yeah, kind of. So the reason why is because real life to them, like their reality is that they're in this insane asylum. Then you go and they portray pretty much a what seems to be, or seems to try to convince you it is like a like maybe a early, or like a around like the 1920s-esque, like maybe later than that, but like a bar, a gentleman's club, right? So they're imagining it as a gentleman's club where they are all entertainers, right? Like they're strippers, or burlesque dancers, however they want to phrase it. And then, whenever they go to the action scenes, like all the fighting, which is supposed to be like representing the challenges that they're dealing with, it goes to like these action scenes like you see on the Letterboxd thumbnail. Like this is what they're thinking it is. All they're doing whenever they are fighting is dancing in a room, because what they do is like Sweet Pea, like all of them can like put the men in a trance. They're weaponizing their femininity. Zack Snyder, hear me out. Zack Snyder is definitely the farthest thing away from the guy who should be trying to make a statement about like how women are portrayed in these movies. Zack, you shouldn't have done it. I actually think that, like, I didn't pick up on this in the multiple times I've watched this movie out of spite, but like I think he's trying to make like some statement about like how women are represented in movies, right? Because like, you know, like I said, they're weaponizing their looks, and they kind of entrance these men that are oppressing them and taking advantage of them. And then he brings it into this cool action scene, because at the end of the day, Zack Snyder is just an action director. And I don't say that, I'm not mean that to be derogative, but he is not some, like, I don't know, Chuck Palahniuk or like Ari Aster kind of. I bring up Chuck Palahniuk for Fight Club, right? With like the psychological sort of like writing. And I think he assisted. It was David Fincher, right, that did Fight Club. Mm-hmm. So he didn't like, you would not put Zack Snyder in David Fincher's role and say like, hey, make Fight Club. Because if he made Fight Club, it would just be a bunch of dudes punching each other in a basement. There were like all the other kind of the kind of social like dialogue that Fight Club kind of brings up, where like people don't really care. Every interaction you have is superficial. People don't actually want to know about like what's really going on in your life. They just want to like make small talk, essentially, right? You wouldn't get that from him. You would just get an underground fighting ring. And the last line in this movie is like John Hamm going like pretty much say like he lobotomizes Sweet Pea, and then he goes and says something like, oh, did you hear that? Or did you see that? And then like, what do you mean, doctor? And then he's like, pretty much he goes on this monologue, but it comes down to him saying like, it sounded like she wanted it. Right. Again, we're getting back to that whole like, oh, guys, which again, that's terrible. Guys actually do that. Men actually take advantage of women. It's just Zack Snyder is not actually making a good movie to talk about how women are like, you know, stereotyped and taken advantage of and yada, yada. Right. It's not good. It's like, if anything, he just made a whole bunch of hot girls hot and made them like fight. And he's like, it's some of the most, I could go on all day about this. It's not a good movie. It's not. I would actually say, if you're watching this right now, go watch. You pay $2.99 to rent it on Amazon, and you tell me if it's good. Because the only people I think that actually think this movie is good and that it is like deep or something are like the same people, like the DC fanboys and girls that think like Justice League is a great movie. You have to be drinking the Snyder Kool-Aid to actually think that this is a good movie, because it's not.
Did you watch Man of Steel as well?
Yeah.
And,
Man of Steel makes me wonder if Christopher Nolan is trying to like squeeze. I feel like he, like, Christopher Nolan is over here trying to just like squeeze money out of like Zack Snyder, right? I don't know, because like the thing is like they're boys. Which actually, I will even go. This is gonna be a hot take. Chris and Zach, this comment might piss you off, and I'm actually fine with that because I have nothing to lose, right? Like you're punching down if you actually come after me. So like, sorry, I don't actually think they're friends. I don't actually think they definitely have said that they're friends. I don't think they're friends though. I think that I think Christopher Nolan just thinks he's a sucker. I say, all right, here's why I say this. Because I feel like I think we can both agree. Do you agree that Christopher Nolan is a good director, maybe even one of the greatest that we've had in our time?
100%, yes.
I agree with that too.
He has about probably 10 good movies under his belt.
I don't think he's really made a bad one. If I would go to say, I don't think I've ever watched a movie by Christopher Nolan that I didn't think wasn't good. Meaning like none of them were even mid, where I was like, it's pretty average. Like that's good. I would say like mid is the maximum amount that Zack Snyder can hit. Now, I say this because there's a lot of controversy around like this part of the DCU, or at least I think there is, because this is where Christopher Nolan, especially in light of his Dark Knight trilogy, came on as an executive producer for these movies. I think Cinecopy is his production studio that that Christopher Nolan runs, I think with his wife maybe. But they have which they did Man of Steel. I think they did Justice League as well. And so with that being said, they probably got a big check from Warner Brothers to help like produce and like to like use their production studio. I also recount there being like a comment whenever Justice League came out, the Whedon version, where Chris pretty much was like supposedly like told Zach, and this is like his motivator for the Snyder cut, was like, you don't want to watch this. Like Zach, like this is not what you wanted. And truthfully, that was true. I think he meant that, but it kind of gave me they're friends vibes. Like they're actually friends. And the reason why I say I don't think they're actually friends is I don't know how you can be friends with someone like Christopher Nolan. Mr. Mr. 300, right? Isn't that what they call it in baseball? Like when you just fucking Bambino that shit out of the park all the time.
Well, I think
your RBI is like,
I mean, Mr. 3000 is like a Bernie Mac baseball movie.
Well, it's not 3000, but it's like something like 900 or something like that. Either way, we'll say someone who just knocks him out of the park when he's sleeping. Right, I would actually go and say Oppenheimer, in my opinion, might be his. It's not lower than Memento, but like I'm saying, like homie gets good movies.
Well, let's go through the list.
Or makes
his first movie, Following. Oh, I haven't seen that one. I assume you haven't.
I didn't even. I thought Memento was his first one.
Followed up with Memento, great movie.
Yeah.
Insomnia, I have not watched, but it's now on my watch list. But that one has Al Pacino, Robin Williams, so I can't judge that one. Then he goes to Batman Begins. Great movie.
Great movie.
Prestige, honestly, probably my favorite Nolan film is The Prestige.
Over Interstellar?
Yeah.
Really? I need to watch. I think I've watched The Prestige once. I know I watched the knockoff with Edward Norton. It's kind of fucked up to say it's the knockoff, but they came out around the same time. It might have actually beat The Prestige, or it came out before The Prestige. The Mentalist, I think, is what it was.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
But
yeah, I would say because Interstellar is one of my favorite movies to watch. I don't think it's necessarily a purely 5 out of 5 movie. I think The Prestige is a better movie. I just think Interstellar is super rewatchable and entertaining.
I think out of all of them,
beautiful to watch.
I think just looking at his,
but yeah, we have Dark Knight.
I think Tenet is
Inception, great. Dark Knight Rises, not as good as the other ones. but not bad.
I like Dark Knight Rises. It's fun. Like, it's a fun watch.
Dunkirk, pretty good.
Great movie. Yeah, I liked it.
Tenet, I don't think I've ever fully watched.
What, Tenet?
Yeah, I haven't fully
I've watched it a couple times. All right, so I don't want to like go too far down the Christopher Nolan band like hole, but like Tenet is a really cool watch, and I think it just like on a film making like level, just like on a like production level, I think it did some crazy stuff. Yeah. I thought that this movie, like, but as far as story goes, that shit was pretentious, and it just made a whole bunch of people on the internet think that they were smarter than a lot of people because they're like, you don't get it. The trains are going forward and backward at the same time. Time is happening at the same. It's like, shut up, dude. Christopher Nolan just wanted to make a really cool looking movie. He had an idea. He's like, hey, what if we like have shit going in reverse? Could we do that? And then they're like, yeah, let's try it. And I love that, which we're going to get into our homework here in a bit. And that's why I love when people have ideas like that.
Yeah.
But why I say I don't think that they're friends is because I don't think you can be friends with somebody of this caliber and then still suck this. Like, you just don't talk about work. You just like, hey, like at a minimum, Christopher Nolan has just never went up to Zack Snyder and be like, hey man, the slow-mo thing, do you have to do it all the time? Right. It's kind of like just in our situation, dude. Like, I've critiqued you and you've critiqued me. Not a critique, just constructively. Hey, I would change this up. Every video I put out, right? Every video that I usually put out or we put out, right? We'll put it up on the channel and then it's just there. And then one of us will usually watch it, whether it's the podcast or like late to the game. It gets cut all the time. So that's like what friends do. So like, I just don't know how Zack Snyder can suck that bad.
I think you're just calling Christopher Nolan a bad friend.
He's a bad friend. I don't think you want Christopher Nolan to be your friend. I think maybe you want him to be your colleague. Yeah. I think if you could use like Cinecopy for production, that's probably good. I honestly think if you want to be like, have him be your mentor and like pick his brain at like a masterclass kind of thing, that would be awesome.
Imagine Zack Snyder in a Christopher Nolan masterclass. Just writing notes down, and
he needs to, because like the thing is, but I'll tell you what, like I don't think Christopher Nolan's the guy that you want to like come to your birthday party, because I don't think he would remember, and he'd probably bring a shitty gift, and he probably is the one who gets drunk too fast. Man. He's like, oh fuck, he just goes through the champagne or some shit.
I think you'd be surprised by how many of these guys are friends. I've been watching some of the like Kevin Smith interviews because he's promoting his new movie.
Kevin Smith is like, him and Ben Affleck just like know everybody.
Yeah, but it's like it seems like Kevin Smith has just, maybe it's just because he has posy vibes on set, but like people love to work with him. Plenty of directors love and like work with him as well. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on like Wes Craven, but he's like a horror legend, and he popped up in a fucking Kevin Smith movie, and he's put Kevin Smith in one of his movies.
I think that's like a big difference between so here's the thing is I keep bringing up fucking like Lloyd Kaufman, not fucking Lloyd Kaufman, but I'm just talking about Lloyd Kaufman. And it is because like him and like the Mark Duplass and like even like Joseph Gordon-Levitt had that like hit record kind of thing.
He still does.
Where they're just kind of like, are they still doing stuff good?
That's all he's really doing these days. That's kind of his passion right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the whole idea behind just like go out and make a movie, go out and make whatever, just hit record, right? Like just do this. I love that because like that, I think at the end of the day is what keeps, like that's what it's about, is it not? It's about making what you love. And I think that Kevin Smith absolutely fits in there.
Yeah.
I am not trying to go and defend yoga hosers by any means. Are you familiar?
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
It's with his daughter and Lily Rose Depp, right?
And yeah, I am not out here trying to necessarily defend it. But is that a dad whose little girl and one of her best friends said, "Hey, Dad, can we be in a movie? We'd like to be in a movie." And he just simply got up, grabbed the camera, called up the team, was like, "Let's do it." He is just like, why not? Yeah. And that's the thing is like, you can't look at, I know people like shat on that movie. I'm not saying it's good, But did they have fun making it?
Probably.
And aren't those movies fun to watch? Like, I think a movie that seemed like it was fun and was trying to be.
I like Kevin Smith. I think
I like Kevin Smith too, man.
He talks too fucking much.
I'll still never forgive seeing him watch. I think what was it? There's a he like his fucking corny ass posted like a selfie of him after he like I think he watched the Star Wars like I think it was Rise of Skywalker. He posted a picture of him crying or some shit.
Yeah.
After he watched it. And I'm like, Kevin, what K-Dog? What are you doing, dude? Why are you this is corny. No one actually has this. No one felt like this after this movie. What are you trying to do right now? Maybe it wasn't that. I remember this has been years at this point. I cannot remember. I know we could figure it out. But at the same time, Kevin Smith's a good guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith wants to make fun movies.
And he has some good ones.
Bro, he does. And he also has Geely. You know?
That's true.
Maybe I think, not everything's a knockout.
Yeah.
But also Zack Snyder, in his case, he just can't make a fucking good movie. He can't. He cannot write it, at least. He absolutely cannot. He cannot be in his own. Like what I've determined at this point is he just really cannot be the only guy. You don't want to. The signs that you don't want to watch a movie are directed by, and written by credit. And they both share the name Zack Snyder. You want to fucking run away from that shit.
All right, final question on this Zack Snyder saga of yours. Who's the better director, Kevin Smith or Zack Snyder? Who has a better
Easy day, dude. What are you talking about? He loses at Dogma. He loses at Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. He loses at Clerks. Like, these aren't like knockout movies, but they're all good movies. Like, they're fun movies. And honestly, Zack Snyder hasn't made a good fucking movie.
Bro, I can't inspired the other day from Kevin Smith, to be honest. He was talking about, I guess, the reason that the first Clerks is in black and white is because he was working with his cinematographer at the time, or at that time is probably just some guy with a camera.
Yeah.
And they had the space, the gas station or the convenience store, or whatever you want to call it, and they just had those nasty, gross overhead lights. And basically, you either had to get a lighting package at that time to fill as much space as you can get, but it was just too expensive. So the guy just suggested, well, the best way to go about it is probably just to shoot in black and white. And so they just decided to shoot in black and white to not have to pay for a lighting package. So they just said, fuck it.
I mean, famously, Clerks was like, everyone talked. It's kind of similar with like George Lucas and Star Wars, like Ep.4, right? Like he was running out of money. Like he had some clout from American Graffiti, and he got some funding, but then like he had to do like the Tatooine, like the cantina scenes, like on a shoestring budget. Like, but with Kevin Smith specifically, he did, and I would advise no one to do what he did. Actually, I think he advises no one to do what he did, but he's kind of, I don't know, he's like the underdog's hero. Like that's kind of the thing. Like he went and pretty much had all of his family put like credit cards in their name, and he got a lot of his family, like his mom, dad, and all them to like, or friends to like get credit cards for like, multiple thousands of dollars, and he maxed that shit out. And then he was like, it's got to work.
It worked.
Like he had that dog in him. He was hungry, and he was like, it's got to work.
Yeah.
And he's very lucky that it did, because he even said I remember him talking about it, he was like, for every one of me, there's like 10,000 other failures that fuck it up. So like you can't do it that way, but like he just threaded the needle.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be one of my future watch throughs is going through his movies again. He has some duds in there, but I know I remember probably his most unsung one that I think a lot of people don't talk about enough is Red State. I think Red State. Someone said yesterday. I read on Reddit was Red State is the movie that people wanted Kevin Smith to direct, not a movie that he wanted to do. In the sense that like it's not really, it doesn't feel like a Kevin Smith movie as like
It's
other
a very
movies do.
weird one.
But
I
these are the
actually
movies
thought
that
about
like it's like the movie that people like thought that Kevin Smith should have directed to like get him out of that like bubble of the Clerks, the like toilet humor shit.
toilet stoner humor, yeah. And I
it worked.
wanted to.
I
was
liked it.
playing. Yeah, I was playing Far Cry 5 that I watched. Like we talked about before, like that Rebel Ridge, Jeremy Saulnier's new film, and it kind of I can't even recall Red State all that much at this point, but I know it's in that same vein. And it's just I would actually like to rewatch it again just because that is like a it is just like a completely tonal shift in like what he does. Like it's nothing like what he does.
Yeah, supposedly he was it that movie or was I thinking something else? No, I guess I think he ended up that movie. He ended up editing it on the fly basically, and it was basically finished at the rap party.
God damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I'm pretty sure that's how it was. If I remember correctly.
Chaos.
Yeah. All right, so let's move away from Kevin Smith and Zack Snyder. What else have I been watching? So on my work trip, I did get to go to a movie, and I ended up seeing Transformers 1.
Did they bring everyone to that?
No, it was just me. I was trying to kill some time. I got into town a little bit too early, so I was like walking around just trying to do some random crap, and I was like, I got some time. I'll go see Transformers 1. It wasn't bad. I was honestly, I had obviously very low expectations for this. It's just like an animated Transformers movie with Chris Hemsworth, Brian Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Stephen Buscemi's in there. John Hamm's in there, I guess. Who was he? Oh, Sentinel Prime. Okay. It was fine. It was like people were like comparing it to like right now it has a 3.8 on Letterboxd. It's not that good. I thought some of the like the look and animation of the Transformers was a little weird. And then I think it took a little bit too long to pick up, but I'm not going to get too much into. This is obviously a family friendly like kids animation movie.
Yeah.
I think it's entertaining enough to watch. It's cute. It's fine. A little woke. I think
that's rich coming from you.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Like, I'm not go into that. Too woke or anything, but like,
yeah, no, like, no. I was just like, I would not think that I would. If there's one thing I would not hear you kind of sort of critique on, it would
no,
be
it's not a critique. I was just
woke.
surprised that a movie like this had like that type of what I would like language in the movie, I guess, or the themes. I didn't think it would be in there, but it was fine. I didn't think it was like overtly bad or anything. There was no complaints there. I was just kind of stunned that I was like, I got that out of a Transformers 1 movie. Yeah, it was fine. It was completely it's better than some of those later like live action movies, to be honest. And yeah, the voice acting was fine. It was cool. It's definitely a movie that I would probably wait until it comes out, maybe watch it with your daughter later on.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about seeing it in theaters. Yeah. What else have I watched? So I started my October watches. I don't know about you. What have you been watching as far as like horror movies?
Oh, I'd have to let me look at my Halloween list. Where are my lists? I think right now I haven't really cracked many. I haven't really cracked a new one since the Babadook.
Okay.
So
I ended up watching Red Dragon because I'm kind of it. Let me tell you, Netflix.
I've always wanted to watch that movie.
It's tough to find some horror movies on Netflix. So
it shouldn't be now.
I did get the Shudder trial, and I'm probably gonna keep it at least for the month, just because it's just easier to get stuff off of Shudder. It seems like it's just a better collection. Netflix is just kind of a mess with that stuff. It's kind of hard to find. They don't actively like put it out front all the time.
Yeah.
So I found this one just randomly. I was like, okay, I like a lot of the Hannibal stuff, that sort of world. I like the Hannibal show. Obviously, Silence of the Lambs is definitely a top movie for me.
Oh
This
yeah.
one, is obviously technically a prequel. This is post um, Silence of the Lambs. This one's directed by Brett Ratner, which I guess I learned a lot of people hate.
But yeah, what else? That's such a familiar.
I'm pretty sure he's a pervert. He did Rush Hour, X-Men Last Stand. He did the first
why.
3 Rush Hours. So
that's why I was gonna say, because I was like, man, I definitely am familiar with him. And X-Men
Last Stand was bad.
Because I just went through an X-Men watch of like all of the X-Men movies, and I was like, who the?
But I mean, Rush Hour is a classic.
It's been so long since I watched Rush Hour.
But yeah, Red Dragon, I thought it was competently made. I just don't. I thought Edward Norton was a little weird in it. I wasn't super impressed by his performance. And then it seemed like this movie was just made to like just show off Anthony Hopkins and his like the way he does Hannibal Lecter. It was just a way to show that off, because it just seemed like they just had scenes of him in the little prison that he's in. This is again prior to Clarice coming up, and they obviously hint to that at the end. Outside of that though, like Rafe Fiennes, right? Is that how you pronounce his name? Voldemort?
Rafe Fiennes.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah.
He plays like somebody with I'm assuming mommy issues. He's sexually repressed. He is like glorifying some devil or something like that, and basically it's just the Hulk running down the incel Voldemort. That's pretty much it.
Running down incel Voldemort, and
So Edward Norton plays Will Graham, which again, if you're a fan of the show, that's kind of the setup in that show, is what Red Dragon is based off of, is prior to those years of Hannibal Lecter getting caught. But in this movie, he gets caught in the beginning, and then he's just in the prison initially, and yada, yada, yada. A lot of I would say the cinematography is really, really good. It looked really good. I thought the music was awesome. But overall, I just didn't think it really stuck the landing. The ending was kind of whatever. The twist was kind of lame. The scenes with the Red Dragon, or I guess in this case Francis Dollarhide, and his love Reba, were kind of awkward. She plays like a blind lady. I didn't really work with me. I don't know. It was still like entertaining enough for me to watch. It was fine. I ended up just giving it like a 2.5. I'd give it a watch just cause. Maybe if you want to go down that rabbit hole of watching those Hannibal Lecter
I would
movies.
like to watch because it's been, I don't think I've ever fully watched Hannibal either, but like I do like the Silence of the Lambs. So, and I've seen like scenes from Hannibal, but I guess my question would be like how like integral or how good is Red Dragon's contribution to the series?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I would like, if you truly, unless you're just wanting to like put it down that you watched all these in the universe, sure, but in this case, it just does not matter. Like
it would have maybe have been better if they would have treated this as a completely different story and not something in. Do you think it would have made the story better if it wouldn't have been attached, I would argue, to the Silence of the Lambs movies? You
might as well just watch the show. Because I think the show is just more entertaining than this movie. Especially, the newer show.
I've always heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's great. Some of the detective stuff is also cool. Like, I love detective crap. I think that's, like, there's some thriller moments and stuff like that. But, like, there's some, like, really cringy, like, early 2000s direction that just doesn't really hit. You know, that early 2000s look. It just, it's just too much. And then last but not least, I finally rewatched the 1992 Candyman.
Okay, yeah, you're gearing up for Halloween.
Wow. This one's great. I remember liking it as a kid, even though I have some painful memories of it.
Just like from it scaring you, or
Yeah, as a kid, my parents didn't care if I watched scary movies, so I would watch these, and then my siblings would be mean and take me into the bathroom, and I was too short to reach the doorknob, and so they would just start yelling "Candyman" with the lights off, and I would be screaming. So yeah, I didn't watch it for a very long time, but here we are today as a 33-year-old man.
What a fucking kid ass thing to do, dude! Holy shit!
And now somebody that really enjoys like film and the technical aspects of it, this movie is great. It's awesome. Thematically, there's so many like interesting stuff that they're doing here. You can really get deep down into the weeds with this movie. A lot of it's about like white saviorship, poverty, black on black crime, sort of interracial relationships and stuff like that, and the way communities treat that, yada yada yada. Just some really great writing. It's not too on the nose that you would expect out of movies like this nowadays. This was, I think, handled very well, very like art housey, shot beautifully. I thought the cinematography was awesome, and the music is awesome. Tony Todd plays Candyman, like super great. It's just obviously a classic role for him, and he kills it. I haven't really watched anything outside of the first one. I know it's like a trilogy, I think, and then there's a newer one that came out a couple years ago that I thought actually did a pretty okay job at respecting the classic and doing its own thing. But this one, I definitely think it's like a horror classic that really does its job well. And again, I can't stop. There's just so many just beautifully shot scenes in this. And the cast is great. I couldn't get past though some of those like editing choices of just random. It felt like the way it was edited was like it was edited for television. So I don't know if that was just the copy that I was watching on Amazon, but that one was it was a little weird just the way they were transitioning. I don't know if that was more of just like a 92 like filmmaking decision at the time, but that I would say definitely ruined it a little bit for me, but that's just being a little nitpicky. But overall, I think yeah, I would definitely have you watch Candyman. It's great.
Should I watch 2021 Candyman?
Yeah, I think I'll end up probably watching that too. Because I like
I haven't heard anything about it. But yeah, like the cast looks good.
The one guy, Yahya Abdul Mateen, I think he's awesome. Who else is in it? There's some great people in it. Vanessa Williams is in it. Oh yeah, she comes back. So yeah, that Vanessa Williams is from the original, so she comes back. I remember now.
Yeah, I might have to check it out for sure.
Great series. Tony Todd comes back as well.
Candyman would be a really good entry for Halloween for sure.
Yeah,
and it's been years since I've watched it.
I think we have a little bit more time here at the end to talk about our homework and what we're gonna be doing next, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. We might have to go a little over. That's okay. I will take the blame for Zack Snyder. I need to like just stop this Zack Snyder watch through because it just consumed. That's what this podcast is like coming down to. It's just me bitching about Zack Snyder films.
Well, you're almost done, so
yeah. So boom, break if we need it for something. Yeah. So homework. So we do this thing where we talk about or we give ourselves a little bit of homework for the week coming up. Last week, I gave, Jared kind of gave himself homework, but he picked The Virgin Suicides by Sofia Coppola. And then he gave Your Boyhood by Richard Linklater. We took a coming of age theme.
Yep.
For this set of homework. I ended up watching both of them because I like me some Sofia Coppola. I actually think I like Sofia Coppola more than I do Francis Ford Coppola. Because I mean, if you just look at it, like what has Francis Ford Coppola really really knocked out. Like other than like, because he only did the original Godfather, right?
Yeah.
Did he even do? Yeah. So here I am speaking on my ass. Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, he directed part 2. He directed part 2.
He got Dracula, Godfather, part 3 as well.
Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
No, he has some classics.
He has some good ones. He has some good ones.
He has some good ones, he says, about The Godfather Part 1 and 2.
He's got some good ones. Part 1,
most critically acclaimed movies of all time.
We're not gonna go into that. That would take up too much time to talk about like Godfather. That's a whole fucking episode in itself.
Yeah. So,
but they are good. But so
I did not watch it. I only watched Virgin Suicides. But
you've watched Boyhood before, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I really needed. I just wanted to watch Virgin Suicides because I need to get on that Coppola bandwagon. So we'll go with Boyhood. The best way I can describe Richard Linklater's Boyhood is, I think I would describe it as the standard, like the standard coming of age film. Now, for those who don't know, if you haven't watched it, and again, spoilers, Richard Linklater made a coming of age film following specifically one boy as he goes from the age 9 to 18.
6 to 18.
Or 6 to 18. It was 12 years. But when I say like he followed him, meaning he literally for 12 years filmed this movie like throughout his life. So like the actors came back, like
the main four.
The main four, meaning Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, his daughter was actually Delilah, I think was her name, or something. Either way, she played
Samantha
Linklater was his played the sister, and then whatever the boy's name was. I say this because it's not perfect. It's far from it, actually. I definitely love that this movie, I like kind of back to the Tenet discussion we had, where I feel like Chris Nolan just wanted to make had like a cool idea to make a movie and wanted to execute. I think Richard Linklater was like, what if we made a coming of age film and followed the people for 12 years? That is cool. Yeah. Like, I don't know how anyone cannot like think that idea isn't like, it's a huge investment, but that's cool. I like that idea. I think just like those challenges kind of make it like really interesting to watch. That being said, this movie falls apart because the acting is not good. They take a 16-year-old. Well, from everyone that's not Patricia Arquette or Ethan Hawke. Yeah. Like it's like there is some hilarious dialogue at some points. So most notably with what was his name? I forget. God damn it. Sometimes Letterboxd gets me does me dirty, but the son that we're following, Mason. Mason. He as he starts to get older, like his acting becomes worse. But that's because he's a kid. I feel like you kind of suspend it, right? Yeah. Like you kind of, or at least, but then he gets up and is like, ooh, I can see why this kid did not make a splash in Hollywood as he got out. Because like you would normally be like, oh, like up till 18, and then maybe he gets into Hollywood after doing such a laborious like project, right? Like that's you're getting baited up to like becoming the next Timothée Chalamet, and the only way you don't stick that landing is because you can't act. And he can't act. I'm sorry. It makes me feel like he was better when he was 6 years old. Same with Samantha Linklater.
Her character name
or
is
Lorelai
Samantha,
Linklater. Lorelai Linklater. And it just stuck out even more whenever Patricia Arquette or Ethan Hawke were on the stage. And or in the scene, and it was like, wow, these people around them cannot act. Like specifically when Mason is working in the restaurant towards the end, he has like a boss that's there, and his boss is like not good. The stepfather that like beat his mom is not good. Like it's just not good. But and also really, if I'm going to be real, it kind of felt like these were more like vignettes of vignettes of a coming of age story. Like you get like a little taste of like, you know, hey, like this is him at 6 years old. This is him at 12 years old. Here's him at 8. Like you just get these little chunks throughout the entire movie. And I think one thing that sort of, it doesn't take away from the movie, but like there's no overarching continuous, there's no real conflict, right? It's like the conflict resolves itself in the same scene almost. Again, I bring up Patricia Arquette like marrying one of her professors, and like the professor like beats her and yada yada. So like that conflict is like, oh, here's what Patricia Arquette's going through. It gets solved, and it never really comes up to like you're always kind of, I don't know, I felt like I was waiting for moments to kind of be a little more dramatic, like it being a movie, right? Like I kind of thought at this point, oh, is this when Ethan Hawke's gonna come up and beat this guy up or something? Because Ethan Hawke's, you know, playing kind of like this, you know, kind of like the bad boy type father that just kind of got thrown into fatherhood, and maybe he comes up to pick up the kids and he sees Patricia Arquette and like all this drama going down with like the stepdad not letting him leave and stuff, and he's like, absolutely not on my watch, punches him and takes his like kids or something. And I think that was the first part where I was like, oh wait, I'm kind of going into this with the wrong mindset. This is literally just to a Ghost Story's point, this is a slow burn. This is like a 3.5 hour movie or something, and it just rides out. I liked it. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was fun. I don't think it's perfect. I would say I wish the acting was a little bit better. I think it is the standard for coming of age stories. If someone were like, this is a good coming of, like if someone asked me like, is this a good coming of age like story about some other movie, I would compare it to Boyhood. Yeah. And go from there. Like I think Boyhood is kind of perfectly middle of the road as far as that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the idea behind it is really strong, and I think that part is actually pretty well done. Like, getting these productions down every other year or whatever, however they did it for 12 years was pretty astonishing, and it's awesome. But I definitely don't. It definitely, I think for me, if I remember correctly, it's been I think a couple of years. It definitely trails off when he gets much older, especially like once it gets like the college stuff, like I start trailing off. I don't care anymore.
That's the college stuff's kind of, I mean, you're summing up the film at that point, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously I thought Patricia Arquette was really good at it. Ethan Hawke was gonna be a Eller Coltrane guy. I thought once he got older, he became a terrible actor, but whatever. Like as you said too, like the little vignettes throughout too. Like I enjoyed seeing like the midnight release of Harry Potter and stuff. That was cool. And like a lot of those little moments that like you remember as a kid, I thought were actually pretty powerful, like the little vignettes of some of the really dark stuff that happened throughout his life and his mom's life and some of the stuff she had to deal with. Definitely can hit at home a little bit, and had some powerful moments, and some of the moments he had with his dad and realizing stuff and growing up, and he turns out to just be pretty much a normal kid at the end of the day, right? Like, yeah, all this stuff happens to you, and you can still get out of it, but like he doesn't become anything exceptional, which I think I really appreciate, because normally in these type of movies, like someone has to turn into something. The narrator is the kid, and he turns out to be like some famous writer that's writing this book, yada yada yada.
Right. Like this just leaves you on he's a normal person, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, and that's why I guess I was getting at, like, I felt like it was going to be, I expected more drama, and there's really there's like a non-drama. It's just,
bro, like it's basic life shit.
Yeah, it's just basic ass life shit. It's like, hey, like Mason, wash the dishes before you go to work. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
Patricia Arquette telling him that.
And it's like dealing with like it's some drug or alcoholism here and there. It deals with your parents splitting up. It deals with you moving as a young kid. It dealing with your first experimentation with girls and drugs as a young kid.
And just your first relationship.
Yeah, like all those little vignettes, I think does add up to a pretty good movie. But it's not excellent, like you said. Like I think some of the performances definitely bring it down, but it's definitely a worthy watch, and I think it's impressive. 12 years of like production on this and coming back every now and then to like play these characters was probably pretty tough for everybody, and it came out to be a competent movie when it could have gone so bad. And I think honestly in most other people's hands this movie would have never worked out, but this is kind of
I mean, imagine the Zack Snyder version of this movie.
Exactly. It would have been a lot more slow motion. Nothing would be naturalistic, because this is what it is. It's pretty naturalistic life moments, and it's shot naturalistic. It's not excellent, but the idea's there, and I think it's definitely done well. It's long as well.
It is, and you kind of have to buckle up for it. But it's not buckle up. You just have to be prepared to like watch it through. But I think it's perfectly competent. I think that's why, like, instead of giving it like on Letterboxd like a middle of the road sort of like 2.5, it's better than that. And I think the reason why is just because the competency that like Richard Linklater exhibits, and how he's able to film a movie across 12 years. Nuts. Kind of like that's just a task in itself, right? Because people have things going on in their life, and how you're going to stage this. Yeah, that was pretty. It was awesome. It was good. It was really good. I really did enjoy it.
Okay.
But next, how was your homework? What did you think of it?
So I watched this last night against my challenge for this month, but I gave myself some grace since I didn't have a lot of time.
Can you just watch movies for fun, dude? Why do you have to challenge yourself?
I like
all
challenges,
the fucking time?
Dude. Leave me alone.
I know.
It keeps me on. It keeps me on. Okay. But yeah, I watched The Virgin Suicides, which is technically my second Sofia Coppola movie. First being Priscilla. I have not gone down the rabbit hole of Sofia Coppola, but this one definitely really impressed
Lost
me.
in Translation's in my top 5.
I still haven't done it, man.
People have been ragging on it lately, and I'm still just gonna hold the line. Like, fuck them. Like, that movie's so good.
Oh, I take that back. I did actually watch The Bling Ring a couple of years ago, so
I want to watch The Bling Ring.
I gotta rewatch it. I'm assuming it's probably her worst film, but this one is her directorial debut. Produced by her father, Francis Ford Coppola. And the entire time I was watching this movie, let me say right off the bat, I did really like it. I thought it was low-key kind of funny. Is that bad? Like, was it funny to you?
No, it's a dark comedy, for sure. Like, it is funny.
Yeah, there's some like kind of like genuinely funny moments. Like, I was smiling through a lot of this stuff. Like, obviously it's a lot about like angst and like coming of age and adolescence and stuff like that. Boys in love with girls and a lot of suicide shit that I didn't think was the basis of this movie. I mean, I know it's called The Virgin Suicides, but I didn't think it was going to be as like that first one. I didn't think it was going to be as visceral as like seeing the little girl staked on the fence. I cackled at that. It sounds so dark, but I was like, holy shit.
I was not expecting that either. Yeah,
like as soon as I saw that, I buckled in. I was like, okay, this one's for me. I'm ready to go. Some of the what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you think this movie would have looked or acted or been what it is without having a little bit of nepotism? I can't imagine this.
Meaning like, this Francis Ford Coppola and
because this movie was budgeted for $6.1 million, right? And it has early Kirsten Dunst in it. It has Josh Hartnett in it.
Yeah.
It has James Woods. It has Danny DeVito. It has Kathleen
Danny
Turner.
DeVito is in this for like exactly like 3 seconds.
So this is Coppola's her first movie, and how old was she? So she's 71. This was like 99. What's the math on it? She's almost 30?
She's 27.
Yeah, so almost
Yeah, I think
30.
she's 27.
Like, I just obviously there are like this is kind of nepotism at play, but like it works.
I think we got to get away from that. If you got advantages, I mean, people are using
use
them,
it,
right?
yeah.
And
I'm just trying to imagine what this
Francis
movie
Ford
would look
Coppola,
like.
like this, I will say, because like it was based off of a book too, right? So like, yes, there was probably some nepotism in it, and I haven't read the book, but I'm sure the book was probably had found some popularity, or at least Francis or like Sophia like really liked it and wanted to adapt it. I think she did a couple of like many like short films or something beforehand. But yeah, I mean, like it was her first one. I think I really liked the movie. It was definitely, so for those who don't know, it's a dark comedy that kind of doesn't follow them. It just details a family that it consists primarily of like
one of the boys that either had some
was like
relationship with the family or the kids. All the boys in the neighborhood was like
were obsessed with this family and their daughters.
Yeah,
so
we're
there's
seeing
5
this
daughters.
story through the lens of the boys, not the girls.
Yeah, which also is why like whenever things were kind of out there, I just took it as the boy's perspective, like her jumping out and getting staked on which I guess happens, but like how it's so comical. It's like a kid's retelling of it. So for me, there's some like there's some like things I took away from it. What ends up happening is all these girls end up committing suicide. They all end up, especially after the first one dies, I think in the same moment, like all like at the very end, like the other 4 kill themselves. So they all like arrange to kill themselves because their parents are very conservative in their beliefs as far as like religion and how it like just to like protect the family, kind of like they're very, very close knit.
Mainly
they're
the
very
mom.
high. Mainly the mom, but the dad doesn't have
a
spine and is complicit to it. And they keep them, tucked inside. Like they don't really give them much freedom. So the girls, they're getting like stir crazy, and they're eventually like the one that I'm not going to remember their names. It's been a while now, but like the first girl ends up taking her life, which ends up exacerbating this problem. And then they start trying to talk her into it. Ultimately, they start trying to talk their parents into giving them more freedom. Even some of the boys, because they're obsessed with them and they think they're so hot and everything. They try to like convince them at school and stuff to like the parents, because the dad is a teacher at the school.
Yep.
But hey, like you should come in. Like, can we like hang out with your daughter? And so I think he's a math teacher or something. Yep. But I know the big thing that like stood out to me, I don't know, there's some like, I guess, allegory imagery, but like the elm trees, right? It's kind of talking about how like what ultimately these girls end up killing themselves because it's never going to get better. Yeah. And that was a very powerful moment like towards the end, because the city is having a problem with the elm trees. The elm trees out in front of everyone's yard are dying. And they have some disease that came from across the river or across the ocean from some Asian elm tree killing disease. And once the leaves start changing yellow, then we have to cut it down, or it's just gonna like kill the rest of them. Or it's gonna like start whittling away, and then it's gonna like hurt somebody potentially or property. So the town, through the whole movie, the town has taken these down. The girls were fond of theirs, and specifically the youngest that ends up taking her life was sort of obsessed with, not obsessed. She just had a specific interest in like the elm trees, where they look through her diary and see it. Mm-hmm. So towards the end, the girls run out and like, join hands and wrap themselves around their elm tree, and they're like, you won't take it. And then the city workers say something along the lines of like, it's already dead. It's going to die. It is not getting better. It is not going to get better. Like, it's not going to, and like the family, like the mom and dad have tried to help a couple times at this point to like prevent them from taking it down. But I think at this moment is where like the girls kind of correlate or relate the elm tree, like what's happening to the elm trees to like their situation, especially because Kirsten Dunst's character ends up sleeping with Josh Hartnett and he just leaves her on like a football field. And which makes the whole thing worse, where like her mom is like, burn the rock and roll records, burn, like you are not pure. Like,
oh, that's after having a ton of sex on the roof.
Yeah, after having a ton, that was like crazy. Like, yeah, she just kind of went wild. So they just kind of realize that they're never going to get out of the grasp of their mother. They will forever be locked into this house. They actually keep them from going to school for 2 weeks because they can't trust them. They don't trust having them outside of the home. And then they end up taking their lives. Yeah. It was so good. It was a good movie.
It's definitely a really great debut. Like, it was competently done, well acted. The cast is pretty great. I would say it trails off a little bit at the end for me, especially like the little like montage of like post-event stuff. Like, it's a lot of it was kind of just getting a little tiring and on the nose for me. Like, okay, I get it, yada yada yada. Like, people like care, but then they don't care. They just go on about their life, yada yada yada, and then like now they're like reflecting on it. Okay, like I think it could have probably been cut a little bit sooner. But
I mean, it's a pretty fast film.
Oh yeah. I just thought like that part was just trailing off a little bit for me. But overall, it was very like entertaining. Like I didn't think it was gonna be as funny as it was. But yeah, definitely like a lot of very haunting like scenes. And I was surprised. Did you see who the narrator was? I was trying to figure it out the entire movie, and then I looked it up. I don't know if you'll know him by his name, but you'll see his face. Giovanni Ribisi or Ribisi. He's been in a bunch of random stuff. You'll know him by his face, not by like his name. He's just in a bunch of random stuff. But then I was like it did connect to me at the end. But yeah, it was
that's
wild.
The narrator.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go through some of her other stuff, but not a bad first movie. I assume she just gets better. Like her second movie is Lost in Translation, which
Lost in Translation's so good.
I've heard nothing but good things about. And then I guess some of her other ones are like The Beguiled or Marie Antoinette's supposed to be pretty damn good. So yeah,
I've heard pretty good things about Marie Antoinette, but I have not heard that great of things about The Bling Ring. But I don't know what she was on when she did that one.
So definitely watch The Virgin Suicides and Boyhood. Definitely two vastly different movies.
And definitely don't watch Sucker Punch, even if it is It is October, maybe. Well, maybe not when this goes out, but just don't watch it.
You got homework for us? I think it's your turn. I've been giving us homework. I think it's your turn.
So you want? Yeah. So I think I'm going to start picking just like one movie for us to watch.
But can you do it within the realm of horror, since it is October?
Yeah, I'm already.
Or horror adjacent. It could be any it could be literally like a Halloween. Like it could be Halloween Town if you want to.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at Letterboxd. I'm trying to think of like what do I?
Ian's doing this. You can take the time to like the video or like the podcast,
like, comment, and subscribe.
Share it. You leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, however that works, wherever you're listening to us. We're going to be doing this every other Wednesday. So twice a month, you'll hear our voices talking about movies in the most unintellectual way possible. But this is what this podcast is all about. Just two guys that don't know a lot about movies, but like to talk about movies a lot.
So I do have homework for you.
Okay. Tell me.
right now. So I've watched this already, but I want you to watch the new one, not the old one. It was out by Amazon. Came out in 2018. I want you to watch Suspiria.
Okay, cool.
Buckle up though. It's a long ass movie.
I want to watch
It's 152
both.
minutes. It's
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it?
I couldn't tell you a single thing about it though. I watched it when it came out and I probably didn't fully pay attention to it. But yeah, this is a good one because it's done by my boy Luca, so I'm ready to watch it.
I'm not too familiar with. Oh, he just
Yeah,
did
what are you talking
Challengers,
about?
and he did call Me by Your Name. Oh,
my
fuck.
boy Luca,
Oh shit.
Bones and all.
Yeah, those are some. Ooh.
Yeah, he has bangers.
He's
Dude.
got. I don't know shit about the other ones, but those popular ones right there.
He has
Those are some bangers.
Nothing but 4s from me right now. At least 4, so we'll see.
Yeah, Suspiria is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So
I'll watch that.
I'm gonna give you Suspiria because I care about you watching a good movie.
Okay.
I am gonna watch a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a time, but I know it's not gonna be that good, and that's Malignant.
Oh, I
used to get Suspiria. The James Wan.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
It's supposed to be like stupid fun.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
like so bad it's fun.
I think it's the movie that they let him make after making a bunch of the other garbage that he gets through for all the it felt like a movie that he wanted to make, which I thought was
I've
great.
only heard cautionary tales watching this film. I have never heard like a really good reason to watch this. I've actually heard more people say, is James Wan actually a good director? Is what I've heard more often than not.
It's not good, but it's kind of good.
I still want to watch it just because I do like James Wan. I think it's gonna be stupid fun. I am not thinking that it's gonna necessarily be good.
No.
But hey, if he had fun making it, if this is him doing his Kevin Smith kind of thing, I am down.
Man, I could have swore I bought it already, but I guess I didn't. Yeah, I watched it. I think that was this a COVID movie, I think? I think it
came out in 2021, so it had to have been.
I wonder if it filmed
right. If it released in 2021, they probably did 2 to 3 years of production.
Production began September 2019, so it seemed like it concluded right before it got too bad. I think you'll like it. I think you'll give it a fairly mid score, but I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it's fun, I'm fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's fun.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap her up. We got our homework.
Yeah, let's wrap it out. Again, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. We're on Apple Podcast. We're at Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify Podcasts. We're on YouTube. You can literally find us if you want to. If you're actually at this part of the show, though, I feel like you're committed. And I just like to say thank you very much. Let us know down below what you're going to watch just coming up. Are you going to follow us in your homework? I hope, or in our homework. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I'll enjoy it either way. And hopefully we can talk about it. So other than that, just keep watching movies. Just keep watching movies. Movies are fun. And fun needs to be had, Yeah,
that's for sure. Awesome. Are we all good? We're all done? Bye, guys.
We're done. Bye.